Hey guys, welcome to Together We Can Cook. Today I'm going to be making some potato salad for my New Year's Eve spread that I put out every year. I always make a hero sandwich and I make potato and macaroni salad and I put out all the fixins. So let's get started. I'm going to start out by peeling some potatoes. I usually use baking potatoes. I think they're called russet potatoes also, but I always call them baking potatoes. I know depending on which potato you use, the potato salad either is like more creamy, it has a totally different consistency. I usually stick with what I know and use these. So I'm just going to start by peeling and cutting off any spots that I don't really like. And I have a pot here filled with cold water. I'm going to peel them and put them right in the water after I cut them up. There was one time years ago that I made the mistake of peeling potatoes and setting them aside for a few hours in the fridge before I made them into whatever recipe I was working on. And they all turned black. I don't know if they were safe to eat, if it's like apples that they just oxidized or what was with it. I didn't eat it. So from that point on, I started always having a thing of water next to me when I cut up the potatoes, because it is going to take me several minutes to peel and cut up the rest of these. And I don't want these to turn black while I work on the other ones. I don't even know what that means, why they did that, but we want to keep everything as fresh as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting them into chunks. We're going to put them in and we're going to boil them when we're all done. I like to do mine like all mashed. So after I boil the potatoes, when I make my potato salad, I kind of like mash everything all up. I like everything like really well smashed and mashed. But I'm going to take out one piece. There's two ways or multiple ways you could do this. You could take like the tiniest little thin slices and boil them until they are like literally just cooked. And these will stay solid like this. And then you just kind of like fold in your potato salad dressing at the end. So you guys pick whichever way you want to do this. You can use the same dressing regardless if you want them all smashy or if you like them thin like this and like them a little bit firmer. It's totally up to you guys. So I'm just going to keep peeling and chopping. I might put my camera over like this so you guys can get a closer look. Okay, so I'm just going to continue peeling the potatoes and slicing them up. I'm just going to give them like a very rough chop so that they're in chunks. And I'm going to keep them in this pot of cold water, like I said, until we can start boiling all of them. You see any potatoes that have green? I don't know if you guys can see this right here. I don't know if the camera picks it up. You don't want to eat any potatoes that are green or have green on them. This one doesn't look green from the outside, but now that I'm peeling it, I'm trying to get as much of that off as I can. Typically, potatoes that have green on them were grown too close to the surface of the soil and they were exposed to sunlight, and it could make you very sick. So if you get a potato that's super green, I would throw it out. I had a batch the other day for Christmas when I was making my mashed potatoes, and there was one that was really, really green, and I was scared to eat it. I know when I grow potatoes, I have to keep, it's called mounding, and you keep like putting more soil on top. As the potatoes grow in whatever container or dirt you're growing it in, you always want to keep mounding more dirt on top as it grows so that none of those potatoes are exposed to the sunlight. So I'm sure when the farmers are growing these potatoes, they can't control it as much as me growing just a few in my backyard. So who knows if some of them are exposed to the sun and turn green, but you definitely don't want that because it could make you sick. So just be careful when you pick your potatoes. I quite a few times bought potatoes in bags, and I felt like every time I bought a pre-made bag of potatoes, they were always either half rotten or there was a lot of green ones that I never would have picked. So now I've been just hand selecting from the store. I really give them a good look over before I buy them. And I always try to get ones that are kind of rounded. I don't like a lot of nooks and crannies because that means I'm not going to be able to get my potato peeler in there to peel them. So I'm pretty picky, but I guess that's okay, right? We're buying them, so we can be picky. So this one's almost done. I'm just going to keep going here. I'm not going to make you guys watch me peel all of them. I'm going to cut this one up and keep going, and then we're going to move over to the stove and start boiling these up. Okay, we're over by the stove. This is how much I got, and I think this is plenty to make potato salad. So I'm just going to put the lid on and let them boil, and I'll test them in several minutes to see how they're going. So the potatoes are still boiling. I'm going to work on the dressing while they boil. So right here I have an onion, and I made a whole bunch of slits in it. And I'm trying to get a fine dice here. I actually like my potato salad a little oniony, especially since we're going to dump the potatoes hot onto these onions. They're going to heat up a little bit and ever so slightly cook, and they're not going to taste as pungent, which I like. So I'm going to put a little more than I would usually do in something where they were going to be raw.
Okay, let's get the dressing going. So we have our minced up onions, a little bit of white vinegar, about half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Next up is a little tiny bit of salt. And after the salt, I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar. I will probably add more later, but we'll start out with this. So sugar's in. I'm going to give this just a little swish to get the flavors going.
Okay, I'm back with the mayonnaise. I'm going to start out with a little. Remember what we always say, we can put it in, but we can't take more out. So I don't want to put too much and then have like a potato salad slop. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to use my little baby whisk here, move it around a little bit, get the flavors going. I just checked on the potatoes. I poked them with a knife. They're soft and they're ready. So I'm going to bring you guys over into the kitchen with me, and we're going to drain them, and then we're going to get them in our dressing.
The potatoes are completely cooked. They're nice and soft. So I'm just going to strain them out, put them back on top of the pot, and bring them over to the bowl.
Okay, we're back at the table. Let's get these hot potatoes right into the dressing. I don't know if you guys can see the steam coming out of them. They're super hot, but that's exactly what I wanted in this case. And like I said, if you chose to go the route of the thinly sliced potatoes, you would have pulled them out way quicker out of the boiling water, because you want them to be a little firm and you're just going to fold the dressing on. But the way that I'm making it this time, they are totally able to be smashed up, and the dressing is under here with those raw onions. So the heat of these potatoes right now is slightly cooking the onions, making them a little bit less pungent. So you guys pick exactly how you like it and how your family likes it. Maybe they don't like onions. Maybe they love the taste of raw onions and you want to cool the potatoes off before you put them in. So it's totally up to you guys. All right, I'm going to take a little taste. I'm sure it's going to need more mayo and more seasoning, But I'm just going to take a taste so I can get my bearings and see how I need to adjust it. Okay, it basically tastes like mashed potatoes. I have a brand new mayo that I just opened. Let's put some of this in. We could actually add some seasonings. You could add a whole bunch of stuff if you'd like here. You could add hard-boiled eggs, celery, shredded carrots, any kinds of vegetables, maybe green peppers, parsley, different kinds of herbs. I like mine sort of on the plain side, but not this plain. So I think I'm done adding the mayo. It's going to definitely firm up. It's really, really, really hot now. So it's not going to stay this loose once we put it in the fridge and we eat it tomorrow for New Year's Eve. It's not going to be this loose. It's going to be freezing cold and way more solid. I'm going to try a little more of the sugar, and I'm going to go and get a bit more seasoning, and I'll be back in 1 second. I am back with my seasonings. Let's add, this is seasoned salt. So you want to be careful when you add this because just like in the name, it has salt, but it also has some seasoning added to it. You can see the color, it's darker than regular salt. So I put some of that in. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. Ooh, that's a lot more pepper. We got some pepper, which I love. I'm going to stick some dried up parsley. And we're going to mix it up. And we're going to taste it again. Let's give this a good mix. Like I said, you can add whatever you'd like here. You could add all kinds of vegetables, herbs, whatever you really love. Could go right into this. Or you could leave it plain. I'm going to try to scrape up what's on the bottom and bring it to the top. Break up some big pieces. I'm going to go get a clean fork and I'm going to take another taste and we'll see where we stand. I just tried it again. It's exactly how I wanted it, so I'm going to stop messing with it now. I have this fancy dish that I'm going to serve it in. So I'm going to get it in here. I'm going to leave it cool for a little while because it's still steaming hot. And after it cools, maybe for about a half hour, I'm going to put some tin foil or saran wrap on here. And I'm going to put it in the fridge so that we can have it with our New Year's Eve hero sandwiches tomorrow. I'm not going to garnish it now because I'm going to give it a little stir before I serve it tomorrow. I will probably just garnish this with a little tiny pinch of dried out parsley just to make it look a little fancy. So here's how it's looking. I don't know if you could see my cute container. And we are pretty much all ready for Hero Day tomorrow. Okay guys, that wraps this up for today. I have my potato salad all ready for New Year's tomorrow. I'm going to go put this away. And like I said, I'm just going to give it a little stir tomorrow before I serve it. Sprinkle a little parsley and we're going to be all set. If you stayed this long, I really appreciate it. Happy cooking!